You guys, it is the first day of Lent. I woke up at like 2:30 or 3 this morning because I was so excited about Lent. My apologies for Cluck Norris in the background. He's also part of the reason why I woke up so early. Since this time is about honoring Christ and his sacrifice, I thought that this story would be a really good one to share. And if I cry, I am so sorry. This is my cry season. Like, I cry so much during Lent. It is so annoying, so I apologize in advance. I think one of the greatest ways that we can honor God is to follow Christ's new commandment, which is to love each other as he loves us. John 13:34 through 35. When I was about 13 or 14, I went on a mission trip to an orphanage in Guatemala. We helped watch the children and teach them English and just spend time with them and get to bond with them. These children had been through some of the most horrific atrocities you can't even fathom. Some of these stories literally left me so shook. I cried every single night that I was there, and I'm talking sobbing. But despite everything that these children had been through and how they literally had nothing, everything they had, they shared. They did not own a single thing. And they were so incredibly happy. They were so incredibly grateful for being alive. These children went to church 3 times a day. Meals consisted of beans and rice and hard bread. Yet they were some of the most joyful children I've ever met in my life. My class was about 7 to 12 children, I think around 10, and they were about 5 years old. My mother had just finished teaching a class in the gymnasium right before my class came in. She had passed out little Hershey's Kisses to the kids as a reward. One of the children from my class ran up to me because he had found a Hershey's Kiss that someone had dropped, and he was turning it into me. And my initial thought was like, how honest. At 5 years old, you find a piece of candy and you think, oh, I need to go turn this in because it's not mine. I was completely blown away. And I told him, you know what, you enjoy that candy. And what happened next changed my life. What I witnessed was so moving. It changed my entire perspective on life. Most children would have just automatically gobbled that piece of candy up. That is not what this little boy did. He called out to his entire class, and they stood in a circle, and he showed them that piece of candy. He took the tiniest little nibble off of that candy and then passed it to the next kid, who took a tiny little nibble off of that piece of candy and passed it to the next kid until everyone had a piece. The amount of shame that I felt in that moment for my selfishness and ungratefulness was so immense. And I felt so honored that God would put me in that place at that time so that I could experience that, so I could witness what real love is, what sacrifice is. These children had nothing and were so grateful. What they did have was a love for God and a love for one another, and it was very humbling to be taught by children. Matthew 18:3 through 4. Truly I say to you, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. I was very, very privileged to experience this at a very young age. And I am so far from being a good Christian. There are so many things that I struggle with, but Lent is so important to me. It is purging all of those things and trying to become childlike again, having that love for God and the love for others. I hope that this story moved you as much as it moved me, and I will continue sharing this every Lent. If you would like to donate to this orphanage, please reach out to me and I will make the proper connections for you to do so. And if you haven't done mission work, I highly encourage it. And if you can bring your children on these mission trips, I also highly encourage it. This changed my entire perspective on life. It is one of my core memories and one of my fondest memories I have. I am praying that everyone has a wonderful Lent. As always, God bless and have a day you deserve.